Alrighty, we are having fun today. We're having fun, yes. Here is the news that is all new and improved, and it says that, yeah, you're supposed to have fun. The other piece of news is if you're not, go out and have fun. So that covers the news for today. Anyway, today, as you can see, we're going to update on our miniature paint carrying case that I'm making in Tinkercad. So for those people that are into tabletop games, kind of like Warhammer, one-page rules, Dungeons and Dragons, any type of tabletop game where you have miniatures or figures, this might be of interest to you. So we're going to take a look at that. Hey, we got George here. Howdy, good going. George is up and awake. Yeah, today is Saturday here in Korea. It's 12:30, so we just finished our brunch. So we've been doing that. Wife and daughter went to go do the spa thing, so they're getting all pampered and everything. So I decided, well, I got some unsupervised activity time, so we're gonna get into this a little bit. Had some type of squirrel moments going on. I've done a number of things and I'm kind of I'm at a point of confusion because one, there's so much stuff to do. Two, I've got a company that sent me a product that I need to review, so that's good. That's always good. Hey, we got Ned Benov here. Good to see you. Hey, awesome. And then, so that's good. The other thing is I've got another company that is sending me a similar product from China, but it is, oh man, it is crazy. They got my name wrong, then the address, and then I have a personal customs code because I live in Korea. Your name and your customs code have to match, and if the order of your name is different than on your personal customs code little ID number that you get, yeah, it won't work. It's kind of a thing. Getting stuff from other countries, it has to match. So if it's my last name is Wilson and Steve, and then my middle name, and then I have my PCC number, that's good. But if they put Stephen M. Wilson and then put my PCC, it can't be that way. And it's even to the point where if you put a comma in there, it won't accept it because it sees that as a separate character. And so it has to be like the name is on my passport, which is the name on my Korean visa, which is the name on my Korean phone, in which my identity is tied to my passport, which is on my phone, and everything in Korea is done on your phone. And so when people in China send stuff to me at times, I've ordered some stuff, personal items. Now I'm going to be reviewing hopefully a couple things. But this one company, I don't know what it is. They put my name wrong. If they don't put my phone number in there the right way, it'll reject it as well. So yeah, I don't know if something is lost in translation, and this has been kind of problematic with the one company. And it boom, it should be easy peasy. Ship it from China to here, boom, we're close to each other. Shouldn't be a big deal. But it's got to go through customs, and then customs, it gets transferred over to a delivery company here in Korea, and then the company that shipped it said, hey, here's your tracking number. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of a weird looking tracking number. It's like 16 characters long plus 2 letters, so that's 17. And I'm like, with my experience being here in Korea, I don't know how we're going to track that. So they said, yeah, we tried the word is that they tried to deliver it. We weren't here. I was at the hospital getting physicals done. It's that time of year. I finally had to get a physical. So the wife conned me into it. So we did that yesterday. So we went up to Seoul. And then supposedly they tried to deliver the item, but we weren't here, which is like, I told the Chinese company, I said, just deliver, have it at my door, and it'll be fine. No one steals stuff in front of your door, at least in our apartment complex. So they said, well, they tried to deliver it, but you weren't there. And so they took it back. So we got to schedule and get this stuff delivered. It's like, okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad. So they sent the tracking number and a link to the delivery company here in Korea. Oh, and a phone number. So I get the tracking number, I get the link, I click on the link, I put in the tracking number, doesn't work. And it's like, okay, because it says it does a 10-digit or a 12-digit tracking number, and the number that they gave me was like 16, 17 characters long. None of it worked. I just started picking numbers out of the air, drop off the first 3 or 4 on the front and the back, still couldn't get it. Ended up sending a message because of Saturday, they only have the delivery company only has their AI chatbot. Either way, I can't do anything or find out any information because the tracking number, they don't recognize that tracking number. So I got that. So I had to send an email back to the Chinese company saying, hey, the phone number. They sent a phone number, had my wife call it, and it ends up that guy used to work for the delivery company years ago. Now he doesn't. So he goes, no, this is my private number. I don't work there. Yeah, no more phone calls, please. And that was it. So we're trying to find numbers to the tracking company or delivery company here in Korea, but we can't find it because it's all done online with, the little chat thing and stuff like that. So we have to wait until Monday. But good Lord, it seems like every step of the way, this Chinese company is like, no, that's wrong. Your name is wrong and your PCC. You need to send us a new one. And it's like, no, I just got a product from China. And it was like 2 or 3 days before that. And it was like, no, I know it works. I can look on the order info and I can look on the delivery, the package receipt and everything. And no, that's my name. That's my PCC. That is the exact same address, verbatim copy and paste. And they're like, no, it's not. It's like, no, it is. I don't know what to tell you. That's my name, that's my number, that's my address. I've had a number of things shipped from China and other places, matter of fact, from Germany to here. When I ordered my airbrush, I said, so that's it. If I don't know what to tell you. If you guys can't figure it out, basically I said, if you can't send it to me, then I can't review it. So I've done everything on my end as humanly possible. There you go. So, and amazingly enough, they were able to get it shipped. But the tracking number, it is not recognized. I just don't know what's going on. So I think there's a problem in translation because when you look at my name, Wilson, Steve, and then my middle name, they can put the order the wrong way, or the way that they put in the information. You have surname and then given names. I think they're confusing. I've had that happen a couple of times. But this one, they're like checking all the boxes for everything that can go wrong. And so it's like, I want to review this product, but I don't know. So now we got to check back on Monday. So that's the crap I'm dealing with there. It's just like, I don't understand why, I copy my name and address and my PCC, copy and paste the way it is with every other order, and they just can't seem to get it right. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Other stuff we got going on. Yesterday, I told you we went to Samsung Medical Center up in Seoul to get a physical. I haven't had a physical since 2005. So yeah, it's been a minute. So they ended up doing all kinds of blood labs. They did a chest x-ray. They did an EKG. They did urine sample. They did something else. I can't remember what it was. And then also, since doing the physical, I need a colonoscopy. So I got all the meds for that. That will be sometime in the future. That'll be fun. So he's like, hey, do you want to be awake or do you want to be asleep through this? And I'm like, somebody shoving something up my other hole? You bet I want to be asleep. What's that drug that you take that you don't... date rape drug is basically date grape drug. Yeah, I want that. So I don't remember jack. Yeah. Have you seen a colonoscopy thing that they... Yeah, a little intimidating, at least for me anyway. So I got that to look forward to. Thankfully, this is the year that I'm gonna kill 60. So yeah, it is. It's gonna be a deal. We're gonna rock 60 out, and we're gonna get big and buff. We're gonna get a little bit ripped. I think I'm gonna get I think I'm going to do a little bit of a bulking and work on my legs and stuff like that. And then, the other interesting thing is a guy stopped me in the gym, and he is a bodybuilding competitor. He's competed a number of times in the States, and then he's going to compete in here in Korea. And he thought I was a former bodybuilder. I told him, no, I've never competed or anything. So he's like, dude, if you go on a cut, you could go in the Masters. I guess that's old people. And then do like the open physique where you get to wear the long shorts. I wouldn't want to wear a Speedo. That just, ugh. But he said I would crush it. So I don't know. I'm thinking about that, but that could be a cool bucket list thing to do a bodybuilding competition. But I'm not a fan of whatchamacallit, waxing or Speedos. Let's see. We got George says, oh boy, Dr. Bad Touch. Yes, calling back to Dr. Bad Touch. Ned Venom says, I woke up in the middle of mine. The doc actually said that. The doc that does it, he did the interview with me to get the consult and everything. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I do that. And he goes, we do it different here in Korea than they do in the United States. In the United States, last time I got it, 6-7 years ago, they put you under and you have an anesthesiologist. And here in Korea, they don't do that. They give you medication to put you out, but sometimes you wake up. So did you fall back to sleep? Hopefully. He said that some people wake up and then they're cognizant and around for a little bit and then they fall back to sleep. And then when they wake up, they don't remember it. As long as I don't remember it, I'm all good. That's a thing. I don't want to remember it. George says, no GoPro on a garden hose for me unless I have a bad result on a PET scan. Yeah, I didn't want to do it either, but the last one I had 2 little things that they took out, and it was time. Added more gas to put you back under. Okay, alrighty. Well, hopefully they'll do that to me. I don't mind waking up. I just don't want to remember it. So you can do whatever you want as long as I'm not awake. Doesn't mean I'm cheap or easy. Just means I don't want to know. So anyway, that's kind of an odd discussion. So we're doing the big physical here, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to continue working on some stuff. So let's get to the update on the miniature carrying case, because we've hit rock bottom pretty much, pretty darn close to it. So we're going to do, so the whole idea is you have miniatures, kind of like, you know, you got the little miniature guys in the Warhammer or D&D or whatever it is that you do, and you want to paint. Well, it ends up that, Thursday night, I went to a local store that has like open painting sessions. You don't have to pay anything, you know, you just show up. I think it was MTG, Tabletop Gaming, and they do like Magic the Gathering, they do D&D, they do Warhammer and a bunch of other stuff. They do chess, you know, the original tabletop games. And then they do like board games, Monopoly, and a bunch of other Chutes and Ladders and whatever, I don't know. So anyway, Thursday night, they had a thing where you could bring your paints and you could paint miniatures, just hang out and BS. So I did that, and I used, if you can look over, well, you know, you can't see it on that other camera angle. But basically, what I ended up using was like a Tupperware, you know, to put all my paints, and then water and whatever. So I did that, and I had a couple of those. So I had one for the paints, and then I had one for the figures. And I was like, you know what? I had a cool bag, little backpack that I got, little tool backpack. Let me show you that. That I picked up. Decent sized little backpack here, you know. I mean, it's a decent size. Little zip top thing, you know, got some stuff. So, yeah. Little handles, the whole 9 yards. So I took the dimensions of the inside of this, and I decided, you know what? Let me look online and find a carrier. So I looked at a bunch of different carriers that were online, and some of these things are like $100 or more. It is crazy. So I thought, surely I can make one that is cheaper than what people are 3D printing and selling for $80 to $100 or whatever. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good project. So let's take a look and I'll show you what I've been doing. I did this on a previous stream, and we started out with kind of something like that. That was the first iteration, and you could have a bunch of miniatures there, 20 or 28 17 milliliter bottles of paint, and then you could have some different racks and stuff like that. You know, put magnets on your pieces with a magnetic sticky base, and you know, put it on one of these things here or something. So I thought about that. And then it morphed into this one right here, which is a little bit bigger. And so I did that. And then I was like, hey, well, if I'm going to do that, let me do something like this, a little bit different. And, you know, made some end caps and have it so that you could have a piece of wood or whatever, you know, a little MDF or something. You could even print out a thing to slide in there. And then I was like, well, let me do another one, and I made it a little bit smaller, so I was doing something like that, kind of the same thing. And again, you could do some of those, and I still might do something like that. I think I will, probably in this bigger one. But then I kept playing around, and I finally got to the place of where, it was this one here, where I kind of had that, and then I had, like, you know, to kind of put that in there, so when all your trays are in there, that little dowel thing could hold them in there. And I'm like, well, that looks kind of cheesy. Let me just go with what we ended up here, which would be this, and it's 319 millimeters tall, which is 12.9 inches. It's 185 deep, or 7.2 inches. And then over here, it's 300 millimeters, which is about 11.8. And so I went through and did a number of things to it. So I ended up making like a tray, and we've got slots that the trays fit in and everything. And this will hold 40 bottles of 17 millimeter paints. So we've got that there. We did kind of another one like that. So in case you want to do like 60 bottles of paints, and then, you know, you got some room over here that you could put a little magnetic sticky on there and put a miniature on there. Oops. Seriously? Come on. And then I ended up making another plate like this, which a little bit of a recess on there, so that, again, you could put a magnetic sheet with a sticky on there, and then you could put a magnet on the bottom of your minis, and you could do that. And then I made another one, and I think these are like 35 millimeter little indentations. So that way, if you had like dedicated Warhammer or 32 millimeter bases, 35 millimeter bases, you could put those in there. I don't know. I think I like this one better because you just do the magnetic base and you can put whatever size miniatures you want. You're not limited to just 35 millimeters like you would end up having on this one. And then I made the very top one here is kind of a tray that even if you go up here, it's supposed to go in that top part. And that this tray is for your paint brushes and stuff like that. So yeah, you can have a little place for your paint brushes, and boom, there you go. And then the other cool thing about this is, besides being able to slide in all these trays that we have on the left, we could print out a board, and that would go like that. And so that way you would be able to enclose this, and if you wanted to get anything in there, basically you just pull this up and out, and then you could kind of use this surface as, you know, you could put this down on down on the deck, I guess you could say, and then you could paint over that. Use that as your painting surface. Because I know when I went over to that tabletop gaming place, what ended up happening is they were like, yeah, bring your own paints and bring your miniatures or whatever. Hell, there's people there that, showed up without paints, and, people are like, hey, go ahead, use my paints or whatever. So I thought it was pretty cool. But then I noticed on the tables, they were folding tables, and if the paint got on the table, that's why I thought it was like, yeah, I need to have an enclosure to where I could take that piece off and use it as something to paint on so that you don't mess up the table. So that was the whole deal behind this little piece here, is that you could use that. I was thinking about doing a hinge, but I'm not too smart on the hinge things, and I want this to be just print and, boom, that's it. So print in place hinges on this would be kind of different. And then again, you'd have to connect this plate here onto the hinges somehow. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not that smart. Remember, I'm a spork. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But this would end up working pretty good, because then you could move this wherever you wanted. I thought that would be a thing, because if you're not directly in front of your case. And then I saw one online that had like a light fixture, had an LED light thing. So I kind of did the same thing. I was like, well, I can do that. And so here, what we end up having is we've got some slots in this. And if we go down about, I think it's right there. And then, yeah, you'll just have these two little bars that'll fit in the slot right there. If I can, where is that thing? Basically like that. And so this piece will slide into there. So we'll kind of go forward, then it'll stop. And then on this edge, you can put an LED flat light. So this LED light I found online on Amazon, and it's like 0.37 inches, whatever that comes out to millimeters thick. And so and it's a rechargeable LED light. So it has like 5 or 10 different brightness levels, 3 different color choices, like white, kind of a cool white, and then a warm color. So you could actually use this as, a way to shine the light on where you're painting miniatures at on this thing. So, because I noticed that as well, you're in there, and even though we had good overhead lighting, the problem is that there wasn't enough good lighting. So I thought, that other carry case that I saw online, I was like, yeah, I'm going to steal that idea. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. Let's see, we got Pilgrim X1620. Welcome to the show. Yes, good. Glad to have you on board. So, and then we've got Swedish Forges here. Yeah, cool. Let's see, is he going to pop up? Yep, he pops up. Yeah. Of course, we got George. Live stream the footage. He's talking live stream the footage of my colonoscopy. I don't think they will let me do that. I pretty much guarantee you they won't let me do that. I don't know. In Korea, it's really... One time I pulled out my phone and I was talking with a doctor, and he's like, why do you have your phone out? And it was translation. So it was translating, and he goes, oh, we don't allow recording. And it's like, I don't know if it means if it's something squirrely, but I guess, they had problems with people recording and causing problems in hospitals, or at least that hospital. So I had to show him it was just the translation thing on my phone. It's just, no, I'm translating, and because my Korean is horrible. And his English was a little rough too. So yeah. Good morning, Swedish Forge. Yeah, it's good. It's good midday here in Korea. So we're talking almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, I don't think I'd be able to live stream my colonoscopy. Pretty sure I can't do that. So, but anyway, I did order some more filament, And so when we get to this, I'm going to, I think I'm going to print this out. And since I've got all of this, you know, it's got a little handle on there, that'll be added later. You print that separate. And on the K2 Plus, this will be able to fit on the build plate. So, of course, if you had a smaller build plate area, you could cut this up in half or in fourths, and you could put it together, you know, with dowels or joints or whatever. And this should work out good. So some of the things that I ended up doing, like initially, I had something like this with the little shapes cut out of it, the holes, to try to remove more material. And I went from that, and then I went to something like this where it tries to remove even more material. So that way, yeah, I don't waste material, because these are just going to end up, you know, holding bottles or whatever. So yeah, this will end up, it should be a pretty good project. I'm really kind of looking forward to it, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, a bunch of different trays that you could end up printing. I think this will be kind of a cool project, and especially since I'm going to that game place, and I would at least print out the main unit, the housing, the panel to enclose everything off. I'm going to print out the LED light holder, those two brown sticks and everything that we got there. The LED, that's just a mock-up of the LED light. And then I'll probably have this tray and maybe this one, and then I'll probably do this tray, and then of course we'll do this tray for the paintbrushes and stuff. So we'll see how all that works. And then when I print that out, that's probably, I don't know, the other one was almost like 2.5 kilos, like 2 kilos or so. So it'll be interesting to see how much this weighs. But if it turns out pretty decent, I might end up doing that. Other thoughts that I had, like on the back of this, is to remove or cut out like a square and then put like plexiglass or something to minimize the material filament used. But then I was like, then I have to get plexiglass and I have to, you know, play with that and glue that. I don't know how far I want to go with that. So I think we'll just go with this, and we'll play around with it in Creality Print. We'll see how much it's going to be. So yeah, that's what we got going on with that. It's coming along pretty good. I think it'll work. And the reason I chose this shape or the dimensions of this miniature paint carrying case is that it fits within that backpack bag that I got. So again, it's 300 millimeters by 185 by 319 millimeters. And if we're talking about Freedom units, that would be 11.8 inches by 7.2 by 12.9 inches. So you should be able to get a fair amount. But with that, I might even go with this one here as well and do something like this. And so that way it's got a carrying handle. And I thought about doing these green things here, because what I could end up doing is like, let's say we could do like a slot, so you could put a strap on there. So if we did something like, let's see, what is 10? 10? You could probably do like a 5, depending on the strap. Let's just make it like 7. We could do, and we could make this like 7. And then this would end up being in the middle. So we could do something like this. And we could select that. So let's see if we can put that in the middle, kind of in the middle. I guess that's the middle. And then we could extend this out to however far. And this, we could extend this, and then we drop this down. Let's just drop it all the way down to the floor. Drop it like it's hot. And then we could do something like that. And actually, you know what we need to do? I need to make this the build area. We'll do that, drop that there, so that way it's flush. And then we could go through, oh, let's see, that's kind of tiny though. Maybe I have to make these green ones a little bit bigger. But let's just kind of drop it. It's 5. So basically what we would end up having is be able to have a hole. And let's see, if we bundle that, will that work? No, that's not what I want. I want to do that. And no, that didn't work. That's not what I want. Seriously. Oh, I have to ungroup it as a bundle. But basically what this would do would put a slot, and so that slot could accommodate a carry strap, like a shoulder strap, do the same thing on the other side, so that the strap goes around, and then not only could you carry it with a handle, but you could also carry it like a case or something like that with a shoulder strap. So I think that'd be kind of cool. We'll see what happens. Let's see, we got some. Sweetest says it's almost 5 in the morning. Now coffee. Yeah. Yeah, we got a few parts on there. There's a few. Did you make them so you can build on the height? Make them so you can build on the height. Build the boxes so they could on top, so I could stack them on top of each other. No, these are just different versions of trying something out, and the whole thing with this one, with the green, was to be able to have some little extra real estate so I could put a hole so that you could put a carry strap, a shoulder strap on there. So that was the thinking behind that. But this one here is the one that I'm going to end up having for my bag. And yeah, that's what we end up having there. So yeah, there might be a couple versions of this. There might be, I'll definitely do this one. And of course, if I put this on my Creality page, my Creality Cloud page, which is this one right here, we'll pop that up. And yes, we'll do the check-in. Yeah, whatever. Boom. So there's my Creality page. And I got a bunch of free models and stuff that, you know, whatever I make, I put it up here for free. And so let me copy this and we'll put this in the comment section. For those of you who don't have it, Buried Life free models on Creality Cloud. So boom, there you go. You can have that. So whenever I make something, I post it on here and then you all can have access to that. And yeah, I'm not a big CAD person, but yeah, I'm able to do a few things. But I think this would be a cool little project. And again, the amount of money that I saw of how much people charge for these, holy crow, $80, $100, $150, $200-ish. And I think when I did a slightly bigger version of this, and I put it in the Creality print, it ended up, it was $43, I think it was. I think it was like $43. Let me pull up Creality print and see if I have that or if I threw it away. So recent projects, bag organizer. Oh yeah, there it is. So with this is the Creality K2 Plus, which is a 350 cube build area. So yeah, I kind of split this in half. I could have done this all on one plate, I think. I don't know, maybe. But I wanted to minimize the amount of support, so I think this would work out well. So I split it in half, and I even have the like the old plate for the paints and stuff like that. But yeah, what did this end up being? I'll just slice it all. And 0.2, 4 wall loops. And we did, what is it, the 4% infill with grid. And I think we ended up with like $43. Yeah, $44.94. And it would be a total of 2 days and 14 hours and 45 minutes. So 2,247, basically 48 grams of material to print all of those items out. So the box, the holder, the tray, the other small tray, the lid that encloses it, and then that other one. But I don't think I'll do plate 7, honestly, because, yeah, let's just get rid of that. I don't like that. I'd rather just have like this tray right here, and it's got a slight indentation on there, recess, so that you can put that magnetic, flexible magnetic sticky backed tape on there. And then we could use that and just put magnets on your minis. We'll just get rid of this plate right here, and then we'll slice it all. And I think we should get this down. That comes out to $42, 2,103 grams. But I'm thinking if I get to, especially like this, all those little holes, those will be bigger. So hopefully I can get this under 2 kilos. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And we'll see how that goes. And I did, matter of fact, on this one, see how we got that paint tray one? It doesn't have any holes in it, but the new updated one that I did does. It's got some little squares that are kind of taken out of both sides, the long sides of that tray. So we should save a little bit of filament there as well. So I want to try to get it below 2 kilos, and we'll see how that goes. Let's go back. Let's see. Sweetie says you need another printer. I know. And like I said, I'm seriously considering the Prusa Core 1L for the fact that it's Prusa, but it's so darn expensive though. Again, it's going to be like $2,800. So I don't, and again, I don't know. I could just get another K2 Plus, you know. Sweetie says I have 2, and you, right? But yeah, the Core 1L. Yeah. And what did we end up saying? I think I've already got that into the cart. So yeah, 1,500 extended warranty or extended warranty, what international warranty. Oh, I think I'd only need one of those. You know, I'd only do an extended 1-year warranty. I think that would be good enough. Nope, that one. Masterclass. At $24.99. We can get rid of that. And that's like $1,800. So yeah, going to South Korea. Of course, that would be the shipping. So we're looking about $2,000, basically $2,000 with that. So, and Sweetie says, invest in the one that will save you much time. But any second printer is going to save me time. You know, I mean, really what it comes down to is a second printer will save me time regardless. It just depends on what printer I have. And I think the Core 1 with the Bondtech index system, that is going to be an upgrade as well. So that's kind of like, that could be good. That could be good. So we'll see how that goes. Just trying to do little minor ADHD adjustments here. So we just try to. So yeah, there's that. But then the other printer I was thinking about getting was another K2 Plus. So, and I think that was K2 Plus. And we looked at the prices of that. not a combo, but just the individual printer. I don't want advanced combo, don't want that. I just want the regular printer. And that's $1,000. So, but I'd really like to get a Prusa, the Core 1L. But if I don't get that, I'll probably get a Creality K2 Plus, probably another one of those. So it's going to be one or the other, either $1,000 or $2,000. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is, any printer would save time. Heck, even if I got a P2S or even a P1S from Bamboo, even an A1 Mini or the Creality Whoosy Spark thing that they got going on, or their, Bamboo A1 Mini clone, whatever it is, any printer, second printer will save me time, because I could still run both of those printers and I'd be good to go. So I don't know. We'll see. I really want to get the Core 1L. So, but when I get that done, the carrying case, I'll put those files on my thing and we'll take a look at that. And then printing stuff out with two printers would be a lot faster. George says, I'm looking at printing the Cathedral board game I saw the file for in MakerWorld. Really? Now we got to go check that out. And what was it? It was MakerWorld. Okay. Cathedral board game. Of course, if I spelled cathedral right, that would probably work a lot better. So let's take a look at that and see what that is all about. Sweetest says he's a Creality nerd. He's going to stick with Creality. Part of me wants to stay with Creality, get another K2 Plus, and then that way all my spare parts are exactly the same. I don't have to worry about getting parts from two different vendors and stuff like that. It would make things a lot easier. Cathedral complete board game, no AMS. Cathedral, I've never heard of that. Huh. Interesting. Cathedral game, Cathedral. I've never heard of that game before. So is that kind of like what it looks like there, George? And George says that his Anycubic treats him really well. Yeah, I remember you were telling me about that. And so really, any second printer would work, and if you look at, the Elegoo, Centauri Carbon, they got the Centauri Carbon 2 that is coming out already. Cathedral complete board game. What? I'm not sure what that, I've never seen that before. I'm at a loss at what you do in this game. Is it kind of like a tic-tac-toe? We modeled this version of the classic Cathedral board game for fun. We hope you like it. We printed the buildings at 0.5 speed, so it took longer, but nice details. And how to play. Interesting. So I'm guessing it's kind of like advanced tic-tac-toe type of thing. That's what I'm getting.
Cathedral.
We'll just do the...
Each player takes a set of colored buildings. Lay out the board. The board is called the city and has a wall that runs along the outside edge. The player with the lighter buildings places the gray cathedral anywhere on the board within the grid squares. The player with the darker buildings goes first, then turns alternate. On your turn, you must place any one of your buildings on any vacant spot on the board, lining it up with the grid squares. Then your opponent places a building. Buildings already in play may not be moved.
Okay.
Except for each player's first turn of the game, after you place a building, you are allowed to claim territory. To claim territory, you must have your adjacent buildings touching each other and or the city wall to create an enclosed area. Diagonal connections do not count. Buildings must be touching at the sides.
Okay.
The cathedral may not be used for creating an enclosed area. If the enclosed space doesn't have any of your opponent's buildings in it, or if it only has a single opponent building in it, or if it only has the cathedral in it, then you remove the opponent's building or cathedral and claim the territory. Your opponent may not place buildings into territories you've claimed. If you forget to remove a building, then it remains where it is and the territory isn't claimed. You are allowed to claim territory if your own buildings are in it, but you do not remove them. You may not claim territory if your opponent has 2 buildings in the enclosed area, or one of their buildings with the cathedral. There is no limit to the size of an enclosed area you can claim. Removed buildings from the board return to their owners as supply and may be replaced on future turns if you want. If the cathedral is removed from the board, it may not be replaced. Once one player can no longer place any buildings, the other player places as many of their remaining buildings as they can. Each player then scores 1 point for each square of a building they have left. Clear the board and play another round, this time with the other player placing the cathedral and going second. At the end of the round, each player combines their points from both rounds, and the player with the fewest points wins.
Huh. Neat. Cool. That's pretty wild. Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of a neat little thing. I like that. That's a good one. Little thing that you can have out on the coffee table or whatever. And yeah, kind of like tic-tac-toe, but a little bit more advanced. I don't know if I'd be able to keep up with that. That is, yeah, you all would probably beat me in that game. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's cool. I like that. The little thing that we got going on. What else have we done? I've been working on base here. So I've been working on a little base. We got some little metal spikes there. This is going to be like a volcanic type thing, volcano. So we're going to have lava, orange and reds and all that cool stuff, black. We'll dry brush that out. And that is where this guy's going to go. So we printed out another one. I've shown you this before. But we printed out a bigger one of these, however big that is. And this will go, as I put holes in his feet. And we still need to do some minor adjusting. But basically, he's going to set like that. And I want to find a different color scheme to do on this guy, and that'll be in a future video. But I think this could, I don't know, I want some, of course I'm going to do the volcano, the lava base. So I was thinking about maybe doing like all of this stuff here, his bone structure and stuff, the skeleton would be in black, and then dry brush, and then have some, grays and stuff like that. And then for his body and flesh, have that kind of like a tan. And then we could do like the black talons, and the claws would be black. I think that would be pretty cool, and have maybe some red or something like that in there, so it would kind of tie in. And then on the bottom here, what I was thinking about maybe doing an object source lighting thing where, light shines up and kind of lights up his loins with some lava glow. I think that would be pretty cool. So I'm not really sure how I want to do that, but I think, yeah, that would be, and this is printed on the FDM as well, on the K2 Plus. And yeah, that turned out really good. Threw on some 2-in-1 primer, and yeah, it looks pretty nice. So yeah, this is going to be a cool one. I think it's going to be a cool little guy. We got to add some more to the base a little bit, put a little bit more cork, and then we'll glue them on in there, and boom, we will see how that goes. So yeah, that one's going to look pretty cool. And I think that's going to end up with that size of guy, of Tyranid, that'll look really good for the one guy that I ended up painting. And that was a while back. Let me show you this guy. I think I've shown him before. But this guy came out really good. And yeah, I really, really like this guy, how this guy turned out. So if we have this guy, and then we could have like this guy, you know, kind of doing that thing, you can see the difference in the size. And I think that would just turn out, really good. So, because that would be, he's about almost twice, more than twice if you count all this high stuff, but I think that would be pretty cool. So, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. This one came out really good. So I like that. Swedish says, why not make it bigger? Because I got all these other little things that I want to do. Oh, and I do have somebody who's interested in the dagger that we got on the table over there, the pointer, and so doing a commission and print one of those up for this guy and see if he wants it. So yeah, make it bigger. Eventually, I'll make a bigger one. Matter of fact, I could do a Tyranid and then also do a Warhammer figure and take it to this place where that I was telling you about on Thursday nights, where they do Warhammer and painting and stuff like that. Free entry for that. You know, and they sell Warhammer figures and different models and Magic the Gathering stuff, so that's how they make their money. But yeah, I could make a bigger one of those, like maybe a Tyranid about, let's see, we could do like a 20-inch Tyranid to about 50 centimeters. That would be big. And then have the print out a Space Marine that's about, I don't know, about 40 or 30, probably about 30. That would be pretty cool. And then donate them to the store. You know, somebody, I'll just print them and prime them, and then somebody else can paint them, and then we'll see how that turns out. I've been thinking about doing that. That would be kind of cool. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. So we'll see how that goes. With that, I guess we can head over to the table and we'll do a little bit of painting. I'm not sure how much painting we'll do. And do I have water? Yes, I do have water. So let's go ahead and boom, we will go on over there. So we got to get our water bottle. Yep. And then we will turn on our tablet. And do the YouTube. No, I don't want that. Show me the YouTube. There we go. And let me see if I can get this a little closer. Oops. Holy crow, what am I doing? I got my shiny new light and everything, and let's see, what do we got going on here? We got it. So I got a new light, and yeah, this should be good. Yeah, the knife looks pretty good. So check this out. I can do this, and then I can set the dimmer and everything. I think we could be good there. And then the other thing you can end up doing is, so that's like PC. So it's kind of a warmer color. And it has a painting setting on there. And then it has music. It's kind of like light and leisure. That's still kind of a soft. So we're going to go with that. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I got it out. Got this off of Amazon, and kind of a light bar type thing, and it gives good coverage. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, let us proceed into painting this a little bit. I did a little bit of sanding on this. We'll see how that goes. I can still feel some ridges in that, but I think that's good enough for government work. By the time we get some color on there and we do some wash or some distressing of the blade and things like that, I think it'll turn out okay. So we'll do like a silver, muted silver for the blade. We'll do maybe like a bronze for these areas. I don't know. Something black, maybe some brown on here for kind of these little panels here. And then we could do the silver underneath so we got like that little piece right there. Oh, another thing I could do. I got to see if this will work. Paint station cam. Boom. That'll give some varying views. But so you can kind of see the lines and everything on there. It's still got some lines, but better than what it was. And I thought, let me just go ahead and paint it with the hell. So, do I have to prime the knife? Yeah, I primed this with a 2-in-1 filler. So it was a filler primer, and then I kind of sanded down some of it. I wanted to make it like really, really smooth. And then I was like, I'm not patient enough. So I figured let's just paint it and we'll call it good. Because who's going to care? Somebody's just going to pick this up and say, that is damn cool. They're not going to see like, oh, look, there's the layer line. Oh, that's horrible. No one's going to notice that stuff. So, yeah. So, let's get our cheesy little water thing here. As I'm pouring water all over my desk. Seriously. Because I didn't empty it last time. Don't you love live streaming? And that's why we have towels that need to go in the washer. Need to clean those up. Okay, I think we're good. Let's get back. So much to paint. So much to paint. Can you put everything in there? I think we get enough in there. Alrighty. And now that we got water on this again, lovely. It's good enough. So we want to work on the most inside color first. So that's going to be the silver. And this is kind of our lead belcher, proxy lead belcher. So that's not lead belcher. This is lead belcher. So with the Citadel paints, and it's kind of close to the same, a little bit. Sort of, not really. But then again, it kind of sort of is. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and we'll do the blade. And I think since the blade is connected to this, we'll do this in that color as well. And like the pieces around here. So that, this piece here, it'll end there. So this stuff will be different. But with the silver here, and then in these little places here, I think we can do that. So let's do the little pieces first. Or we could do the blade. Which one do we want to do first? If we do the blade, then I got to hold the blade to do this. So we'll do these little small pieces first. There we go. And then we could still hold this and do the blade. Fantastic idea. And we will put some paint. Get a little bit of water in there. We can get our little mixing paint tool thing that I made. And we'll see what we can end up doing. Kind of a palette knife, that's what this thing is. And that color comes out pretty good, I like it. Like I said, it's almost like a lead belchery type of color. So just kind of load up our brush and we'll just start. I think this will work out well. So yeah, that tabletop game store, you're able to go, not only can you play games and it's free, which is cool. They also have a coffee shop in there, which is nice. They sell coffee and drinks and stuff like that. I don't know if they sell alcohol though. But they do that, and the guy was interested. He was wondering if I could do a commission. And of this right here. So I was like, yeah, I might be able to do something like that. And with me, it's a little bit different. The store caters to U.S. military service members, and they do service Koreans as well, but mostly the Koreans that go there speak English, so they get their Warhammer fix on. And then, but mainly it's geared towards military service members and their families. Of course, I'm a retiree, so that works out for me. But service members come and go, and being a retiree, I'm going to be here for a minute. So I think it'll be a cool place. And a guy and his brother, they run it, and they're U.S. citizens. I actually think they're Filipino. But great guy. Paco's the one guy that I met. See how that color comes in there? That is a nice color. Let me see if I can kind of get a little bit more light on the subject. Kind of. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool place to hang out. So we'll see how that goes. And they were like, hey, we can teach you how to play Warhammer and all that, but Warhammer's expensive. I was like, it is insane how expensive that is. It was just like, you've got to be kidding me. I was like, that is definitely insane. So I don't know. We'll see. And they're not too terribly strict. I mean, they said, you know, you can play with non-sanctioned Warhammer models, which is cool. Of course, they have Warhammer models, so that's what they're, you know, that's what they're trying to sell you. But I guess enough people are into Warhammer that they just get, you know, the Warhammer models and everything. But for me, I don't know. And I think they got like a loner army because they help teach people how to play. And so they have like a loner army, and you could learn the rules and do like a little skirmish play or whatever. And then it's kind of like drugs. The first one's free, you know, they tempt you and you get to play with a loner army. And then once you're hooked, it's like, yeah, we got you. So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, I don't know if I want to get into it just because it's just expensive. And I don't know. It just, some people get really, really deep into it and get super serious about the games and everything. But I don't want to get super serious, you know. Yeah, I think this will turn out good. I'll have to get a smaller brush. Dang it. Seriously. Seriously. Thank goodness for acrylic paints. But yeah, we'll see. So right now, Thursday was my first night there. And it was kind of cool just to go and sit and paint, talk with some people. I mean, I am the oldest one there. So, like I said, I'm going to be 60 this year. So yeah, I'm definitely the oldest one there. I think the next guy was 50. And then below him was a guy that was 43, maybe. I could stream from there. That's what Swedish Ford says. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. It depends on if somebody wants to be streamed or not. I don't want to jump in there and be like, hey, how you doing? Oh, by the way, I'm streaming. It'd be like, I got to test the waters and see, you know. Most of the people seem pretty cool. I haven't met everybody, but enough of the people that I met Thursday night, they seem pretty cool. So, again, we'll just kind of see how it goes. Let's see, what else could I do as silver? You have to get in those cracks a little bit. But yeah, it was kind of cool. I enjoyed it. like a little thin piece. It's kind of like, here we go. Kind of put that back into a tip. So we'll see. I wonder if streaming would be something somebody wouldn't mind doing, though. I mean, it would be, maybe I could try to do it as, you know, try to get more people interested, saying, hey, let me do a stream, and maybe that would bring more people in. I don't know. Man, that is really tiny. Seriously. Yeah, we can cover it up with brown. I'm not too concerned about that. And this is going to be kind of a bigger piece. So I think if we just get some good colors on here, and this will be my pointer, so I think we should be all right. Oh, I got to do that other. Might as well just do these two. So yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. 3 hours went quick. So must go. Have a good day. Yeah, sorry to switch to my TV and couldn't chat my phone. Phone died. Oh no. But if you got to go, you got to go. Thanks for watching. Always welcome. I don't think we'll get this whole thing painted in one go. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure of it. We'll probably just do like the blade and maybe one other color. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. This brush has got like a little crook in its tip. So I gotta be mindful of that. And somebody was asking about Benny. I was looking through some old streams, and somebody was asking about Benny. And where is Benny? Benny is our teddy bear. And when we first came to Korea, we took Benny with us. We brought him to Korea, and we got photos of him, little teddy bear holding the tickets, and sitting in the business class seats or whatever. So, and somebody's asking about Benny. Says, "Where's Benny?" So I have to pull Benny out, and we'll get him on the next stream. We'll get him out and about. Okay. So you got a little bit going on. Oh, I mean, it's a small little stuff. And I'm wondering if I should do silver there. I could probably do that. So let's go ahead. So we'll kind of tie this in. The cool thing about that Thursday night thing that I went to with the painting miniatures and stuff like that, a number of people were painting, the majority were painting Warhammer. I just brought my speed paints. But yeah, some guys are doing some real good paint jobs. I was like, ooh. And another guy was doing a Lord of the Rings figure, an actual metal figurine from, it was way back in the day. And so he was doing Aragorn, or however you pronounce his name. But he was doing a real good paint job on him, and I was like, ooh. It was, hopefully I can learn some more paint stuff. So that's gonna, because I haven't seen anybody else in person paint anything. So that was kind of cool. So I'm definitely going to be picking people's brains. Thursday nights, George says, usually bowling night. Cool. Yeah, we used to do bowling back in the day. I really liked bowling. I liked that. That was, and then I got my back injury, and then my back doesn't like bowling. I like bowling, but my back doesn't like it for some strange reason. It's just that angle. I don't know what it is. It's just hits that spot, and it's like, oh, ouch. Okay, I think we'll save this part for last with the silver, because I'm going to end up touching that. So I guess we can move on to the blade here, because at least I can touch this. I have areas on here where I won't mess up the silver, and I can just go ahead and start doing this blade. And I think that will be good. We'll get a lot of this blade done. We can get a bigger brush. Bigger. We can just start going to town. We might have to do a couple coats. So we'll see how it turns out. George says, I scare people because I sound like a Rice Krispies treats when I bowl. Cracking, snapping, popping, joints, bones, cartilage. I get that. Yeah, there's a number of things that I'd like to do. I just can't do them anymore. I used to do rock climbing. Used to do rappelling. I really like that. Used to do whitewater rafting. That was fun. And then with the pain and stuff I've got, it's like, nope. And my back is like, no. I know you like this, but there's no way on earth you're going to do it anymore. It's like, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, like I said, I like this color. We're just going to try to get all the edges here. And that way we can just blaze on with this thing. Yeah. No, I think I'll just do this. I'll save this raised part here for a different color. Either like a bronze or a gold. I think that'll look pretty sick. So we'll see how that goes. The guy that made this model on Maker World, he ended up using AI with it as well. And I know people don't like AI, but I mean, this turned out pretty good. I gotta admit, it's a nice little model we got. I've seen more videos on AI and making pictures and making them into STL models and stuff like that. Pretty impressive. I guess we can. It's got a motion detection. And I think I'm just going to cheat, make a line. Yeah, but it's getting to the point where AI is just kind of crazy. And there I'm getting touching the painted areas. Don't do that. Imagine that. What are the odds? Imagine if I painted the blade first. I'd be a mess. But the AI stuff is pretty impressive. It's like, it is pretty, I'm impressed with it. And it's only going to get better over time. That's a scary thing. And the other thing is, I already have like AI music on my Spotify. You know, and if you look on YouTube, you can find, you know, AI groups and music and, you know, not even real people. And it sounds pretty damn good. George says, the mind tells you one thing, but the body's warranty tells you another. Yeah. AI has uses, however, in some areas, I think people are rushing its development without understanding what they're dealing with. Probably. It's going to get away and it's going to do what it wants to do, and people are going to be like, whoa, Terminator. Or the Matrix. Cybernetic world. The computer is determined that, yeah, you're being harmful to yourself, so you're no longer allowed to live, type of thing. So yeah, I could see that. I could see that coming. Man, that is a big honking sword. Dagger. Pointer. It's a pointer. Take that off. That would make that easier. We're just going to slap this on here. And just realize it's like, this isn't a miniature. This will be but this Arteco acrylic paint, the metallic paints that they have, I got those off of Amazon. I'm really liking it. And especially with, you know, something like this, a bigger model. It is nice. I wonder if Arteco does airbrush paints. I'll have to look that up. I don't think they do. But maybe it's something they should look into. I guess I could always take them and add medium and make airbrush paints, but That's coming out kind of good. Like I said, we'll have to come back and maybe do a second coat on this, but we'll see. One could be good enough. Again, like I said, it's just gonna pretty much be a prop on a wall. Granted, it'll be a cool looking prop. I like that color. Wow, that color is coming out. That is nice. Nicey, nicey. Probably add a little bit of water onto that because this is kind of thick. Add a little bit. Don't want to get paint in my ferrule. Trying to be extra careful with my brushes. Or more careful. I shouldn't say extra, I should just say more. That way the last yeah, the color is nice. I like it. It is a good color. Yeah, I should have brought this to the store and painted it. As everybody was doing miniatures. Should be like, yeah. So what are you painting? As I pull this out of the bag. Dagger. There's some guys that do resin printing of miniatures. But yeah, I want to do some bigger stuff. That'd be kind of cool though. I think it'd be kind of cool to, print out some big stuff, donate it. Because really, the guy Paco over there, seems like he's got a real good heart. He's like, hey, he goes, I want this to be a place that's kind of like a home, away from home type of place. And slow down, Wilson. And, so he wants to decorate it and stuff like that. Be like, hey, that'd be kind of cool. I could 3D print some stuff. Gonna distress the dagger. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because the distressing can hide a lot of stuff. We don't want this to look like it just came out of the packaging. We want to try to make it so it's got some wear and tear on it. So yeah, we will do some distressing. Yeah, this is turning out nice. Like I said, I'd like to do a bigger one. Swedish Forge mentioned doing like that Tyranid in a bigger size, and then do a big Tyranid, like 20 inches tall, and then a Warhammer guy, and then donate that to the store. Because it is kind of cool. I mean, I know what it's like being in the military and being away from home and stuff like that, and having a place that you can go and do stuff and have fun, without drinking your ass off. Or end up in a bar and buy me drink your girls and all that stuff, Yeah. Want a much nicer place to kind of hang out. Yeah, use too much water. Should be fun. Be a cool little thing to do. Yeah, there we go. Let's go back over that area again after it dries. George says making a few Easter eggs for his trees at the moment. Cool. There's always something to build and paint or print. Just never ends. Never ends. have a lot of kids in the neighborhood, so I decorate. Well, that's cool. Yeah, we got some kids here, but in our apartment building, it's kind of nobody really wanders up to your door. So they got a fair amount of kids for like Halloween and stuff like that, but yeah, nobody shows up. So they do mostly what you'll see like around military bases is they'll have like trunk or treat, you know. So they'll be on the military base and they'll have like a parking lot, and then they'll have everybody just show up, open up their trunks and decorate, and then hand out candy from the trunks of their cars. So they'll do that. Okay, we're getting pretty good. Yeah, we might need another coat on this. That's okay. That is totally okay. George says that I missed the 4th of July at Fort Campbell. Yeah, I remember Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And yeah, when I was there, they had 2nd Ranger Battalion on one side, and we were down the street from the 2nd Ranger Bat. And we had, matter of fact, I remember the Crittenberg Library. That was kind of on the main street that was headed up towards, it would bypass our battalion area and then it'd go up the street. Crittenberg Library would be on your right, and then further up, Ranger Battalion was up there. So it was kind of, I always seemed to get in fights with the Rangers. So that was back in the day. So I remember there was a guy I ran into, that reminds me of a funny story. There was a guy who worked in the Department of Corrections, and he said he was military. I was like, really? And he said he was stationed at Fort Campbell. I was like, really? But the stuff he was saying, you know, before, not specifically about Fort Campbell, but just about the military in general, I was just like, that doesn't sound right. That really didn't sound right at all. So me and this other guy are looking at him, and we're just like, I don't know. Dude just doesn't sound right. And then, yeah, he was talking about Fort Campbell. No, that was Fort Lewis. Fort Lewis was Crittenberg Library, and down the street was 2nd Bat. That's it. I'm sorry. Fort Campbell was when I was with 3 and 3rd Battalion, 327 Infantry. I'm sorry. Crittenberg Library was at Fort Lewis. That's right. And dude was talking about Fort Lewis. See, that's when you know you're getting old. You start forgetting shit. And dude was talking about Fort Lewis, and I was like, hey, I said, well, hey, so you remember the Ranger Bat up there? And he goes, oh yeah, I was part of Ranger Bat. I said, really? Really? Because it was enough BS. I knew he was lying. And so I said, hey, up the street, and then I asked him about Crittenberg Library. And I said, so you remember the library there, right? And he's like, yeah, of course, yeah. I used to go by there, I used to go there all the time, and blah, blah, blah. I liked reading and blah, blah, blah. So he's one of those guys that anything you did, he did, except like 10 times better, you know. If you read 10 books, he read 100 books. He was one of those, you know, one-upper. And so I said, well, what was the statue there? And he's like, oh, well, at Ranger Bat, they had a statue of, and then he said they got rid of it. And I was like, I'm not talking about Ranger Bat. I'm talking about the library. What was the statue in front of Crittenburg Library? And he couldn't answer the question. And the statue had been there forever and a day. And that has never changed. Matter of fact, I think you can still look that up and it's still there. And it was a soldier. So yeah, he was just selling wolf tickets, and I was like, you're bullshit, man. There's no way. So I think we did pretty good for a first coat. I think what we can end up now, on the inside of this, we can do gray. Because we're going to leave these for like a gold or the bronze. So we'll do some gold and bronze. And then that'll be skull colored. Maybe we can do these little things in gold. And then the rivets on here, those could be gold. And we could do like bronze there with gold. Something like that. And then we can do these sections here. Do those in like a brown. I think that could look good. I like this Art Deco paint. It's got a good color. It's got good pigmentation. It's got some sparkly, you know, metallic in it. So that looks nice. You know what? We'll just wash this up real quick. We're obviously going to have to go back and but yeah, that was Fort Lewis, Washington. And then Fort Campbell, that was 3rd to 327 Infantry. That's where I went to Air Assault School. And that was I got married to my wife, who's Korean. And we had our daughter, and about 3 weeks after my daughter was born, we flew to California. I bought a vehicle. No, I visited my grandparents. And then I think we rented a car. No, we flew from California to New Mexico. That's where I bought the car. And then we drove from there to Fort Campbell. So that was the fun stuff. I think we'll use this one. And again, don't touch the wet stuff, Wilson. That was a whole different military back then. Fort Lewis, Washington was my first duty station. I got another crazy. as a kid, my friend's mom worked on base. That's where I got to go. I was really pissed at myself when I got rejected over my knees. Oh, man. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Something you want to do, and then it's like out of your own control. You don't get to do that thing or whatever. Yeah, that'd piss you off. Let's see if we can get in here. Got a little bit of, you know what I really need? I need some Q-tips. To just put a little bit of, I got a little bit of a paint. A Q-tip would be like the perfect little tool to get that. Next time, I'll remember that. Campbell was good. We lived, I actually remember the address of our house. It was 442 Newman Drive. And it was our first house we ever bought. It was like $60,000. I was scared to death. My hands were shaking as I was signing the forms to buy the house. It was like, oh my gosh, $60,000. That's so expensive. What am I doing? I was like, well, and looking back now, I wish I kept it. There, how's that turn out? Yeah, I might need another coat on there, but got a good sheen on there for the first coat. But yeah, I didn't know. I was young and stupid, and it was like, oh, because then we left Fort Campbell, and I got reassigned to Korea again. Like a year and 10 months later, I was like, seriously, a year and 10 months? You're going to send me back to Korea? And that's what they did. And so I asked some people, I was like, oh, what should I do with the house? And I had a number of people that were, higher ranking. And all of them said to just sell it and get rid of it. Yeah, you don't want to deal with that, be an absentee, manage it overseas and whatever, and I didn't know any better. I should have kept it though. Should have just got a property manager and, even just to cover the mortgage and not make money and just pay the mortgage off. If I could only go back in time. You know how that goes. I wonder how much that house costs now. I'll have to look that up. Check that out and see, hey, pull it up on Zillow or something. like, what? They're $400,000. And it was a simple little house. I mean, it wasn't extravagant or anything. Just Barney basic house. Let's see. And I could do inside a silver for these areas here. And then inside of those little pieces, do that. I think that could work. So on the inside that. And then that. I don't know if I want to do that. On the inside of there, I could do it. Here, I'd do something else. So I want to keep kind of like this for like a bronze, then have gold rivets. I could do this in silver, those little things. I think that could work out. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Got a few messed up spots, but I'm not too concerned because I can always, I'm going to go back with some bronze or gold, and I can hit those up. Other cool thing about going to that little game store place, it wasn't little, it was a pretty decent sized place. You had people there, they're like, yeah, I don't play, I just paint. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Just chill out and do it for, you know, your own fun. So I thought that was cool. And they have coffee. I think it was like 3,500 won for a coffee, which wasn't bad. That was pretty decent coffee. Vanilla latte. probably use a palette brush or a palette, wet palette. Seemed like a good group of people at that place. The wife and daughter are back.
Hi.
Hi. Is it good?
Oh yeah. I'm bleeding.
Mm.
Yeah. It felt like they used a wire scrub. Wow, cool stuff. Yep.
They just got back from the Jimsy Bone, which is the sauna. And got scrubbed down, skin's all super soft. Nice hot sauna.
Oh yeah, I bet. Look, like the gift wrap and the bag is from the same company. Oh, yeah, she actually went to store. She went to the store. Oh, that stuff.
And this model ended up screwed up a little bit because I put some, I sliced this and cut it, and then I put some square dowels, and unfortunately I made them too big and they went through the model. So you can kind of see a little bit of that. But if I make another one of these for that guy, I'm gonna redo it and make sure it's good. So yeah, it turned out good. Got a good sheen on it. Maybe we should turn down so we don't get so much blowout on the white. So yeah, I think it's going to turn out good. Yeah, we definitely need another coat on here, but I think it will turn out good. Let's continue. How did I do that? I think I'll just go ahead and I'll do that. George says, when I moved to Clarksville, it took me forever to get to sleep with the choppers out there. I found the exact same glue and activator used at the hobby store. Oh, cool. Yeah, that stuff works great. It is crazy. And even just the glue itself seems like it's better than super glue you buy at like Walmart or whatever. It works way better, but with the activator, you better make sure that it's in the right position, because as soon as you put that on there, that is it. It is done. So remember that. I warned you. So, and it might even be worth, how can I say this? Put super glue on the parts, put it together, and then spray the activator in the cracks for it to activate the super glue or the CA, and do that. And that might be a good way to do that. Because as soon as you put that stuff on there, boom, you're done. It is set. You have no time in which to move the parts around and then do that. It is done. So yeah, be careful with it. But I'm highly impressed with it, that's for sure. So especially if I do larger stuff and have like dowels, and you put it together and boom, it is really, really good. So I'm not getting too detailed on this here because I'm going to end up using like gold or brass. So if I have little places on here where it's going over the lines or whatever, I don't really care. This paint is starting to dry a little bit. Okay. That's looking pretty good, I think. I think we could do this end. We might as well. Reconstitute some of this dried stuff we got here. just enough to get this little bit done. Or done enough. I'll just have to go back and do a second coat, but I don't know. If this was airbrush paint, this would be really nice. Of course, then if I want to airbrush, then I'd have to tape everything off and see how that turns out. But I think this is good enough for the for what we got going on. I think we're good. We will call this good. Anyway, I think I'll cut this short a little bit. I want to spend a little time with the family. George says $13 for the pair, not a bad price. Oh yeah, that CA and activator. I had to pay a lot more here in Korea to get it here, but I love it. I love that stuff. It is really good. I'll let those soak. Let's do this one again. But yeah, it's definitely good stuff. Get this guy nice and soaking wet, saturated. And then we did this one as well, so we might as well clean him up. So we'll let those dry and we'll clean those up a little bit later, and I think we're good. I think we're good enough for today. So yeah. Oh. So with that, let's go back to the desk and we can finish up the stream, and then we'll paint the rest of this on another day. Okay, there it is. Yeah, we ended up, where am I? There I am. Okay, so we ended up, we talked about the update on the miniature painting carrier that we worked on. So quick little recap on that was this guy right here. And come on, get over. So we're going to have this box here, and then we're going to be able to have trays that you can go ahead and, you know, put in your paints, and then you know, slide in your little pieces and stuff like that. We even got a little brush tray, you know, that'll go up towards the top there. So yeah, we should be good. And then we have the little light thing that is going to be, that'll have an LED light on there, and it's about 300 by 185 by 119s, or 11.8 by 7.2 by what, 12.9. And yeah, that should be a cool little thing. That'll fit within the bag, a little backpack that I ended up getting. But I'm thinking about doing maybe this one back here, and doing the same thing with a little slide in top. You know, we got some slots there that we could end up doing. And on this one was a little bit different because I wanted the slot, you know, all the way through. So yeah, something like that. And that would go further in. So yeah, that'll be an interesting little project. I'll probably do that one. And then I'm not going to promise anything, but I'm thinking about doing this one here. So that one, what's the dimensions on that? That's like 500 by 160 and by 312. And that has some room. And then, of course, maybe a bigger one as well. Kind of the same thing. Maybe a bigger size one, kind of like this size, but with those little green edges on there. So, I don't know. We'll see. But we'll definitely do this one here. I know that one for a fact. So we talked about that, and then we went to the paint station. We painted up some stuff. The Warhammer Dagger, the Pointer. So we got that going on. And let's see if we can catch up on anything. I think that's it for the comments. So I think we're pretty good. So there you have it. A little update on the carrying case. We did the little dagger dude, the little pointer, the Warhammer Pointer that we're working on. We need to do another coat on that. But I think that will turn out really good. And we're going to incorporate some bronze, some gold. We'll definitely do some distressing on there and kind of make it rough and tumble-ish. So we'll do that to hide some imperfections as well. And I think, yeah, a coat of matte varnish after it's all done, that will look really cool. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Anyway, we're going to finish up this stream. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate that. If you want to contact me, you can send me an email. Here's my email address, officialthevariedlife@gmail.com. If you just want to say hi, shoot me pictures of stuff that you're doing, or ask me questions about being an American expat here in Korea. We retired here. Or if you really appreciate it, you can get me coffee. But like I said, the very best thing that you can do is smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell. That would be the best thing that you could do for me, and I would really appreciate that. So, like George says, have a good one. Yes, everybody else, have a good one as well. And stay tuned, because we'll do more painting, more printing, Tyranids, Warhammer. We got all kinds of other stuff. My pile of shame is, there's a lot of things that I could end up painting. So, and more printing, more painting, and more printing. And then we've also got that product review that's going to be coming up of an ultrasonic cutter. So you would definitely want to subscribe for that to see if those things are worth the money. So we'll find out. That's the teaser. All right, with that being said, we are done. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you. And even if you didn't chime in or say anything, thanks. I appreciate it. We will see you on the next video. Peace. We're getting there. We're getting there. Good stuff. See ya.